Hello and welcome. This is a reading for the full moon in Pisces, which took place on Saturday, the 10th of September. I did the reading on Saturday, but I've had a cough for quite a long time and I couldn't stop coughing through that, so I thought I'll just save the reading, put the cards together, and also that's given me a bit of time to delve a bit deeper in some of these cards, and do a bit more study on them, go a little bit deeper, because it's Pisces, it's moon, it's intuition, it's emotions, it's psyche, it's deep, it's interesting. I should imagine anyone watching this has probably noticed that things are happening that are a little bit more strange than usual, and also we're kind of feeling stuff more. You may be feeling a lot of empathy, a lot of connection, which is really positive, but can also be quite overwhelming at times. So you may be feeling a little bit confused and a bit overwhelmed, a bit jittery here and there. Everything's kind of big and watery, but there's obviously some really, really interesting insights and important information that we can take from this phase. Even though the full moon was on Saturday, the energy is intense for the next 7 days from Saturday. So yes, hopefully I won't have a coughing fit. I think I'm just about over the worst of that. So yes, this reading will mainly, I should think, resonate with Scorpio, water signs, my other chart signs, which are Libra and Virgo, and anybody who's actually interested in feeling the energy of this moon, tracking their feelings and energy and emotions around it, you will get something out of it, I'm sure. Because I think it was an amazing moon. It was absolutely beautiful. I felt it felt very gentle. I was out on Saturday night, not moon watching in particular, but just out for a friend's event, and I just felt like everybody was in a really nice mood, and it felt kind of very, very connected. A lot of communication. I also noticed that there were some quite fun synchronicities coming up, such as topics of conversation that I'd had earlier in the day would then come up, kind of obscure things like the unpleasant demise of pet hamsters for various people, which I know is a bit funny, but also it came up twice. I felt that was quite sort of strange. So sort of, as we're in the realm of symbols and reading that kind of thing, it's maybe about if we don't attempt to become free people in our minds, in our hearts, we are trapped and we are victims of fate. And this has, in fact, been a real theme with this full moon Pisces reading, I have to say. So let's get going. So the energy of the whole phase here. We've got the Queen of Swords. So not emotions, but intellect and mind. Always a good one when we are in the realms of the psyche and emotions, because as I was saying, we can feel completely overwhelmed. If we've got a lot of past pain, memories, they may be surfacing. However, the Queen of Swords energy is there for us to not to cut loose the past, but to, if you have a look, to cut loose from the pain of the past and move on with our experiences and memories, good and bad, but we are not emotionally attached to them anymore. They don't cause us the pain that they were up until now, or whenever we decide that we're moving on, or when we've naturally moved on. So it's very much in this reading, you may have been through a period of mourning, and it may be that it's time for that to change and come into a new phase, for a relationship, for a death. This will be a time that the emotions will perhaps flood up over us, but we have got this opportunity to, and I think we can feel it. You think, actually, do you know what? I want this to end. I want to move on now, and I will never forget that person or that relative, or that situation. But I'm in a different phase of my life now, and I'm ready to move on. And I do not want to be overwhelmed by debilitating sentimentality and emotions from past experiences. So this is a great card for now. I always like it when swords come up during a phase of deep emotion because it's very helpful. Okay, is there anything else? Oh no, I'm referring to some notes because I did decide to delve a bit deep with this, so I don't want to miss anything for you. Yeah, so swords are about intellect and mind. Queen is very much related to yin female energy, but it doesn't have to be about a man. This is about receptivity. It's about female attributes. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, it's just a kind of attitude. So yes, honesty, wisdom and acceptance. She's her head is above the clouds. This is very much about, as I was saying, no longer having our minds obscured by debilitating feelings. It's about getting your head above the parapet and starting to form a vision of the future based on the truth and piercing through the sort of mystery of, or the fog of emotion. Yeah, clear thinking, clarity. Okay, so the next position is number 2. Now this is this is the energy of what we can embrace for this full moon period, okay? And we have got the Wheel of Fortune. It's a major arcana card, okay? It's number 10, which in tarot and various other sort of esoteric practices, it's about endings and it's about beginnings, because 10 is a finality, but if 1 plus 0 equals 1, so we go back to the beginning. But we're talking about cycles because it's the Wheel of Fortune. It doesn't mean to say you're going back to the beginning, it's just the beginning of a new phase or cycle in your life, and understanding something about karma and the cycles of life. So that is what we need to embrace. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on that. So, accepting situations as they are. It's a bit of a paradoxical card, really, because it invites us to go with the flow of life, accept what we can't do anything about, and move forward. And leave it. Oh, sorry, Buddha. Leaving alone anxiety, not getting anxious about events in life, letting things happen, kind of going with the flow. But on the other hand, it invites us not to be a victim of fate, because we do have free will. So, you may feel sort of resigned to fate quite often. Why is this happening to me again? Why do I always have really bad luck with boyfriends or girlfriends? Why do I always move somewhere that I've got to move out of? Whatever it is, this is about really embracing our connectivity with life. What has led up to the situations we're in? We're really invited to analyse that and look at our part in it, and therefore accept what we can't change and change what we can. Okay, I mean, it's a really deep card. There's a lot to it. You've got Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, and they're representing the entire tarot, which is fire, water, air, and earth. So it's about everything, the entire cycle of life being included in, and that we are all connected and everything is connected. And we're not an extraneous bit of it. We don't operate on our own. Every single action, the cause and effect of things in life, events, we are not sort of going from one event to another without meaning. It's not random. You know, you may believe that, but this invites you to look at the connection between yourself, your life, your environment, and events, and to release yourself. Oh, I'm going to put him over there. And to release yourself from the feeling from feeling resigned to fate, because you always have free will. And this is what we need to embrace here. This is then backed up later in the reading, but for now, I'm going. Look, have I missed anything? Let's have a look. Yeah, looking at the bigger picture, taking responsibility for your own life. You can change your karma in the moment. Yes, and you are not a hostage to fate. You really need to embrace that idea right now, rather than being, when we're overwhelmed by emotions and memories, you know, it's difficult to get clarity about how we're going to go forward so that we can move into a more harmonious and joyful place. But this is what this card is asking us to do. Let go of what you can't change and change what you can. And then we've got in the let go position here, we've got the Six of Swords, which I've been a bit fascinated by lately generally, so I'm quite glad that's come up. So sixes are about harmony and, well, the journey towards harmony. And swords are the intellect and mind. These people are on a journey. Swords are mind, water is emotion. They're crossing from the choppy water to the calmer water. But there is a feeling of quiet sorrow about it. And it is a very quiet card. You can imagine being on that boat quietly, introspectively, moving from one stage, part of your life, to another. You are on a journey. I mean, in a personal tarot reading, this could, depending on what it's next to, be talking about a physical journey, but we're going deeper on this today. So you know, this isn't a personal reading, so this is about people picking up, resonating with a general reading. So the swords are representative of what you might think of as our baggage, of your baggage, but really it's experience, it's life experience. We travel with it, but doesn't have to weigh us down. This is a deep card it's a spiritual journey. It's moving from one phase in your life to another, which you are ready for. So what we're letting go of here is the anxiety of change. We're letting go of drama. We are letting go of the addiction to drama. We're letting go of the addiction to pain. We are going quiet. Now, that might not seem very exciting, but sometimes if you think about the amount of chatter and how much we can sort of unwittingly cause ourselves difficulties through creating self-sabotaging and sort of dramatic situations, thinking things through. Swords are about thinking, they're cognitive, they're about communication, but this is a very quiet communication. It may even be about communicating via silence rather than talking and shouting. So moving away from drama, moving away from turmoil, actively pulling yourself or moving away from troubled situations and a troubled mind. How can I become calm? I am calm. Okay, this is about calmness, quietness, and moving away from drama. That's what we're letting go of here. Wonderful. So in position 4, we've got Spirit Lesson, and I'm so glad that this card has come up in this position. Because this is the 9 of Cups. He's happy. This is about joy. As a spirit lesson, the lesson is that we are here to enjoy ourselves. I think it very much ties in with moving calmly away from drama, psychological and external. Because when we move away from it, what we find is joy. Whether we've got money or not, you know, it's how we deal with the situation right at the moment. Where are we now? What have we got? Focusing on what we can be grateful for in the moment, letting it fill our hearts with joy, understanding that we are here to experience love and joy, and we have every right to enjoy our experience here on earth. It's very powerful in that position as a spirit lesson, because it's just, it makes it nice and simple. I think, you know, we take responsibility for ourselves, we have free will, we move ourselves into a position of calmness and quietness, and we let joy fill our hearts. Fill the space where the drama used to be, because that's what's actually there underneath all of that noise, is joy. Okay. Now we are in position 5, which is our growth area under this full moon period in Pisces. Growth stroke challenge. Right, lovely. Again, we've got, nines, actually, yes, sorry, I didn't, nines themselves, particularly in this sort of older interpretation of tarot, are about attainment as well. So spiritual lesson, attaining joy. That's what we're going to do now. That's our goal, our spiritual goal, and therefore our earthly goal. So yes, in our growth area, challenge area, we have got, I don't know if that's very visible, clear there. Anyway, it's Justice, it's card 11. Okay, Justice is Libra, and we have new moon in Libra after this full. We're now waning towards the new moon in Libra, and this is our growth area. So let's say we're getting ahead of the game here. Card 11. 11 is quite a spiritual number. A lot of people link it to the angelic realm. But 1 plus 1 is 2. So we are talking about harmony, and of course we have the scales there. We have equilibrium, so that makes sense, doesn't it? It's also linked to the High Priestess. So it takes the card from the, what you might call mundane, into the more spiritual or psychic elements of our being. So with Justice, on the surface, we are talking about fairness, we're talking about correct behaviour, we're talking about the truth, and we're talking about integrity. So in the growth position, I think this card is talking about our own, are we struggling with our integrity? I mean, we always are. I mean, once you start to sort of look into yourself, and you know what a persona is, what our persona is, you know, how far away are we, the real we, from the persona that we present to the outside world. There is always going to be one, but I think the idea is that we're comfortable enough in ourselves to express our own truth via our persona. You know, I guess it's a kind of, you know, the good side of the ego presents us as we are, but shaves off some of the jagged edges so that we don't upset people too much. So, or we are a facade because we're frightened of ourselves and we don't think we're good enough. So we have to construct a persona to present, because what we are is nothing. This may come from introjected values from our childhood about not feeling good enough, you know, which so many people, you know, live with and don't even realise. So it's worth thinking about what we present and who we are, our integrity. So I'm just going to have a look at the notes that I made about that card, because it's a deep one. Where are we? Yes, pondering the meaning and value of our actions. Again, are we going from one event to another without without giving it any meaning, really? Are we just one thing to another? We're just pushed from one event to another somehow, and we just deal with it and we survive, and then we just get on with the next thing? Or are we actually ascribing a meaning to what's happening? Can we join the dots between events in our lives? It's encouraging us to join the events together, not in some crazy way, but just, and again, you know, there's a real, because it's justice, it's a real sense of taking personal responsibility. That doesn't mean to say that you're responsible for terrible things that happen to you in some kind of sort of Hindu karmic way, that, you know, that can be interpreted like that, but that's not really what that's about. That's about looking at who you are and what you, again, what you can do for you and where you are right now. Because if we genuinely are where we are right now, all we've got is choice, really. We've got free will. The future is always open, and you can change it. Yes, understanding freedom of will. Yet again, not being a victim of fate. Behaving with integrity, and also acting versus behaviour. So you say, oh, I acted really strangely the other day. Well, did you act or were you behaving? So were you putting on, were you acting out, you know, were you putting on a role? Were you were behaving, you were acting, or were you being you? It's inviting you to look at the truth of the matter within your life and the events in your life. Self-knowledge, wisdom. Yes, behaving with integrity. That is the challenge for this period. Not easy stuff, really, because you've got to take a look at yourself. You've got to start thinking about what you're doing, really. Yeah, and this will come up a little bit more in a minute. At the time, this card fell out. I was only going to do one for that position, but the Five of Pentacles popped out, and I thought, well, I'm going to have that because I can see how that links to growth and challenge and through the Justice card. So fives are about instability, change. Some other words that are ascribed to the five are change, control, submission, conflict and loss. So are we being proud to afford? So you see these two hobbling past the church. It could be said that there is actually behind them, or in their peripheral vision, there has been somewhere of sanctuary, but they're not taking it. They're hobbling on with their problems, with their poverty, with their difficulties and with their misery, but they are walking past what would traditionally have been a place of sanctuary. Are you ignoring offers of help? It could be within your own spirituality that you're not reaching out, and you're not using your practices that you've built up. You're not using your spiritual community at the moment. You're just sort of hobbling on proudly, and you don't want anybody to know there's anything wrong. Have you lost your faith in human? Have you lost your faith in life? Have you lost your faith? Yes. Have you stopped trusting that life will support you? It's a feeling of really being on your own with your troubles, creating a terrible sense of insecurity, which if you reached out, you could probably feel a lot better about the things. You may get some help. There's some other stuff around this card which I found interesting. You may be feeling genuinely shut out and alone, and particularly if you're taking on the task of looking at your own integrity and looking at your personal, taking personal responsibility. Are you being you? You know, it is going to create a feeling of insecurity because it's kind of like big new territory. So, yeah, I think it's kind of just being careful that you're not overblowing the feeling of insecurity, and that also just always remember, if you're if you're good to other people will be good to you. You know, there will always be somebody, a friend, people in the community, looking out for really nice things that happen when someone smiles at you, someone gives you a compliment, someone holds the door open, understanding that we are connected to each other. And most people are alright and they will help you out. You don't have to feel alone. I mean, if you're going about life being an arsehole, that's going to be a bit of a different story. But that's where, if you're looking at this and you feel like you've been a bit out of order lately, maybe you're miserable and it's sort of coming out in different ways, you know, correct that behaviour, change your attitude, and focus on gratitude. That wasn't supposed to rhyme, but it did. So, yes, justice. No, Five of Pentacles. The other thing is, at the moment, a lot of our institutions that we've trusted and believed in for so long are in trouble now, you know, and I think more and more people are sort of getting a sense that what used to work and what used to be so reliable is now, you know, in troubled waters. I'm talking about the NHS, I'm talking about politics generally. Things are not what they used to seem. I'm talking about mainstream media, I'm talking about mainstream religion, you know, all these sorts of established, trusted institutions, you know, they're coming apart a bit. I think, you know, people are changing, things are changing really fast, and there's no surprise that there's this real feeling of insecurity, particularly in this area of growth and challenge. You know, our challenge is to overcome this. Our challenge, I would say, and what I've written down, is to create security within ourselves through personal development, through taking on spiritual practices, or reigniting old spiritual practices that have helped us out in the past, through creating community groups, community support in, you know, where we live, alternative health, you know, and building our own tribes so that we've got people we connect with who are on our wavelength. That doesn't mean being excluding people or anything like that. It's just that it's really important, because we, you know, we used to switch the TV on and the BBC would come on and some trusting grown-up person would tell us everything's like this, and we'd go, yeah, okay, that's all right then. You know, or you'd ring the doctor and you get an appointment and you go up there and you'd speak to the doctor that you've known for years. Well, that's over now, you know, and I think it's over in so many areas that we've really got a feeling of instability. Yeah, and that is the 5. You know, it's unstable. We are challenged to build our own security through our own communities and our own personal development. I like that anyway, that makes me feel good. And then finally, we've got in position 6. This is our focus. This is what we need to focus on. So between now and the next few weeks, it can be, you know, if you pick this up some other time and it resonates, that's fine. But 8 of Wands, focus, okay? So there's the 8. Now, arrows flying through the air. They're just about to make contact with the ground. So 8s are about advancement. That's good. So things are moving. And fire, which is the Wands. Suit of Wands is the element of fire, and that's action. Fire is action in the tarot. So it's taking action. So this is not a passive time, actually. So once we've done the inner work, it's time to put it into action quite quickly, I think. So it's about movement, taking action and swiftness, bringing projects or events to a conclusion. Okay, so you're wrapping things up, dotting I's, crossing T's. Actually think, you may have had an ongoing situation, something that's been going on for years or months or too long anyway, and it's time to do what you need to do to bring it to a conclusion, because you need this energy for the new phase. Okay, we've got 10, we've got Wheel of Fortune. It's time for the new, okay, and you can't start new things when you've got all of your energy going into old problems, or it might be a project you can't get off the ground. You've just got to shut it down and think, that's it, I'm going to start something else. Or you do X, Y and Z to make it happen. Fire it up. New energy, new projects, new cycle, new phase. You need the energy for it. You might feel like things are moving too fast, and it might actually be that you need to slow things down in order to get them moving at your pace, so that you can bring them to a conclusion. If you're actually feeling yes, this is right, but actually it's moving too fast, it's too fast for me, so you then take the action to slow it down. It's just about taking action, really. So it could be action to stop things happening. You may not be ready to sign that piece of paper, you may not be ready to get married, you may not be ready to have a baby, you may not be ready to change jobs, you may be offered a job and actually you're just not ready to say yes. You need some more time. Okay, that's fine, and you should do that. Don't let things just take their course in this, once you've looked at the things that you need to look at in yourself, because it's time to wrap certain things up and start new stuff. Resolving things, concluding things at your own pace. But essentially, as the end card, I think we're talking about movement, going into the future. It's the focus, it's the go ahead card. So it's fantastic, really. This is what we want. We want conclusions, we want new energy for new projects. So, once a lot of this kind of heavy emotional energy has passed, and if we have engaged with it in a way that is really useful to us and helps us move on, then we are going to have the mental clarity with the Queen to actually bring some things to conclusion that are meant to have been brought to a conclusion. It might be the end of a love affair, it might be the end of a job, it might be the end of a painting, but we're going to do it. The energy is there for this at the moment. So I also, for us, everybody here, anyone who's watching, anyone who's interested, picked this is the Radiant Rider-Waite deck that I'm using. That's my core deck. But I've also got these fantastic cards called the Wild Unknown Archetypes by Kim Krantz, I think. They're really incredible. She's an incredible artist and spiritual person, tarot person, and she designed them all herself. So I picked it's a really deep one here. This card, and it's called the Shaman. So I really feel like that's in tune with all this sort of deep psyche, watery, intuitive energy with this moon at the moment. Where's my glasses? So I'm going to read this to you. Okay, the Shaman. The Magi, the Sorcerer, the Medicine Woman. 3 archetypal ingredients constitute the Shaman, and all must be present in order to reveal its magic. First, the Shaman is activated by long-standing and diligent study. The Mentor, that's another card. Second, its orientation is generously and accurately aimed towards the healing of the self. The other, and the cultural, the Healer. So we've got this, the Mentor, the Healer, and the third is the Otherworld, allowing psychic visions and old magic to leak into this world, the unseen. In this way, the Shaman is a master who bridges the everyday and the sacred, revealing potent power needed desperately in our time. Yet where there is power, there is shadow. So the Shaman must be vigilant in studying their own darkness. This card reminds us that the force of healing is ultimately not our own. We must shape it and share it with the world. And I think this brings it together so well, because there's this real invitation to go in with this reading, and also to be objective so that we're not pulled all over the place. This is a real opportunity to delve into our own lives and see how they are connected to other people's lives, and how we can heal ourselves. And when we heal ourselves, how we're healing other people, because when we're starting to heal, then we can be there for other people, and we can use our experiences in all their strangeness to support others to go through a similar journey. So that's the reading for today. I hope you enjoyed that, and I've been itching to get back to this, but what with the summer holidays and ill health and goodness knows what, it's been quite difficult, but it's great to be back. Okay, thank you for watching, and see you soon.